Okay, Rocket Man, what is this one all about?
Okay, well first, check out these pictures while I tell you the story. Lagari Hasan was an Ottoman Turk who, according to myth, was the first person to have made a successful manned rocket flight back in 1633. He took off vertically and apparently reached an altitude of 300 meters before climbing out mid-air, opening some sort of wing device and descending back to Earth as the world's first rocketeer.
Can you use rockets to send a cage with a person inside of it up 300 meters and then have them deploy some sort of wing to float back down to Earth safely?
This build is gonna be awesome.
It's a missile history mystery. In 1633, there are several colorful accounts of an Ottoman rocket man taking the world's first rocket ride. But to find out if Lagari Hasan really was a rocketeer pioneer, the team is picking 3 concrete parameters common to each account. Did he really reach the 1,000 feet from the fable? Were the wings a viable method for his descent? And finally, could he have even survived?
All right, so there are a lot of unknowns to this one. I mean, did the thrust come from a single engine like in your picture, or was it multiple rockets like in this picture? And there's no design for the wing system. I mean, were they true wings, or was it more like a parachute?
Okay, with so many questions, let's start with small scale and put aside the whole flying back down to Earth thing until later. We'll build miniature versions of these 2 designs and see which one flies better, which one is more stable.
And we use the design that performs the best and go full scale.
All right, let's go to work.
So unfortunately, with myths of this kind, there's no one single version of the story, which means that there's no one definitive rocket design for us to build.
I have my materials, I have my rockets, and I have my rocket dude. Most importantly, I have my design.
So, Tory's gonna build his version, which is a half cage and multiple rockets.
Looking at this picture, the first thing I notice is he's got a mustache.
And I'm gonna build the version that's in my reference, which is a fully enclosed cage, pointy top, and a single rocket motor.
And with the 2 designs rigged and ready for their maiden test flight, the team heads for the hills and the perfect launch location.
We are at red alert, folks! Red alert!
Fully operational, ready to launch.
Stand by. Launching sequence. Tango, Alpha, Niner, Omega.
Impact in 3, 2,
Wait a minute.
1!
It was a
Target destroyed!
It was a mistake.
What? So we are here at Missile Launch Site 88 in the Marin Headlands, which is part of the Golden Gate National Recreational Area. Now, this facility was built during the Cold War as part of an anti-aircraft missile defense system. Behind me is a Nike Hercules missile capable of carrying up to a 40-kiloton nuclear payload.
Gotta love a man in uniform.
Now, here's the interesting thing. No missile has ever been launched from this site. That is, until today.
Launch pad.
Now, the whole point of this small-scale test is to find out which design is the best for when we go build the large-scale rocket. Now, Grant has the cage design with a single engine. I have an open top shuttle, but it has multiple rockets. Now, we know from the past, trying to get rockets to go off at the same time have been a huge problem. Anybody remember 360-degree swing set? Whoa!
And Tory's solution to this sticky, simultaneous launch issue is black powder.
Don't worry, you will not be forgotten.
And remote ignition. The burning ring of black powder should fire all 7 engines at the same time.
All right, so we're all wired up, ready for our multi-rocket launch. You guys ready?
All right, give us a countdown.
All right, here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah! That was awesome!
I think Tory might be a little bit disappointed in his launch. I mean, it wasn't really everything he expected.
You know what? I have another rocket with stronger engines. Maybe we'll get higher than 4 feet.
A flight height of 4 feet was distinctly underwhelming, but Tory has a ballistic backup to big it up. So cue launch 2, and this time Tory's rocket has larger engines with much more thrust.
2, 1.
Up! Wow, that was great!
Go get him! Go get him!
Water!
Extinguisher! Oh, now we
fire extinguisher.
Best part about watching Tory's launch is the fact that we all started running towards the rocket to go get it. Nobody had a fire extinguisher in hand, so it was a little Three Stooges.
All right, we're all good.
I'm not sure which one of them I am. I think I might be Curly.
Despite the slapstick safety protocols, Rocket Science 101 is going pretty well. The vertical launch was stable, at least initially, and the height of the flight was good. That's the benchmark, and up next for a little ballistic show and tell is Grant. Will his single-engine cage design do any better?
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
That was exciting.
Yeah.
How'd you make it so it would come at us?
Yeah, okay. I almost killed the entire crew.
So it looks like Grant's design has a fatal flaw, but he wants to make sure.
In 3, 2, 1.
Consistent results!
So the good news is that the second rocket performed the same as the first rocket without trying to kill us this time. Unfortunately, I still have some lingering stability issues.
Yeah, and that's the key. A vertical, stable launch will be the most important aspect of the design. After all, to work, it's got to thrust our Rocketeer 300 meters safely into the air.
So I think we've learned some very important things here today. We've learned that the multi-rocket design is a little problematic with the ignition. We've also learned that the weight-to-thrust ratio, very important aspect.
Yeah, and we also learned that we need big fins to keep our ships from spiraling and crashing into the ground.
And to tie all their ideas together, it's back to the, lair. From Icarus and Leonardo to the Wright brothers, the history of flight is a soaring tale of the triumph of invention over gravity. But it's also a rich source of tall tales and exaggerated claims. The question is, where does Lagari Hasan fit in? Flight of fancy or real-life 17th century Rocketeer pioneer?
So despite the fact that your rocket flew better on the day, I think in the full scale we should take the best design elements from both.
Agreed. But I'm a little hesitant to use multiple rockets.
Yeah, you know what? I feel the same way. I mean, it's like, yeah, it worked on the model rocket, but when we go to full scale, trying to get several rockets to go off at the same time, you're asking for trouble. So why don't we do this? We'll take the shuttle design from this, and we'll take the single rocket engine from this design, and put the two together when we go build the full-scale rocket.
I totally second that.
All right. Sounds like all we need to do is build a full-scale rocket and add a simulate pilot.
But not just any simulate, a simulate with wings.
Yeah, the wings aspect is really awkward, and it's not represented in either of our illustrations, but the history books did say he climbed out of the rocket, deployed some sort of wing device, and flew safely down to Earth.
Well, we know from our plywood builder episode that in order to safely descend, you need a big wing. Not just like an umbrella, I mean a huge surface.
Well, you know, if Lagari had the technology to build a rocket, maybe he had the technology to build some kind of gliding wing. Kind of like a hang glider.
You saying you want to go hang gliding?
Oh, yes, I am!
Oh, yeah!
Aw, being pregnant on MythBusters is so unfair.
So with her baby bump aerodynamics less than stellar, Kari is obviously grounded for this one.
So we're here at Fort Funston, which is a mecca for hang gliders.
The boys, however, will get to jump off a cliff for science.
You guys ready to get suited up and go?
Yeah?
Maybe.
Nerves and jokes aside, this is a practical excursion. The team want to know, could the wing of the myth be a version of the modern hang glider?
In terms of the myth, what we're looking for here is a kind of a reality check.
Now, did the diapers go on before or after we get into the hang glider?
Supposed to have them on before we get in.
In the myth, they describe wings. Is this slimming?
Looks good on you.
We're just here to see if this is even possible, if this is something we could incorporate into our build to simulate that part of the myth.
Now, getting a rocket into the air is only half of this myth.
Oh my goodness!
The other half is the fact that our rocket man had some sort of wing system that got him safely back down to the Earth. So Tory and Grant are gonna collect a little practical data for me. Remember to gather! gonna check out all the aspects of this, which are the takeoff, the flight,
Look out, Rocket Man, here we come.
the control in the air, and the landing. They need to come down and tell me all of the things I need to know so that I can maybe make some sort of wing system that'll get our Rocket Man down.
Nice landing.
Oh my God, that was insane. You know, as soon as I took off, all the fear went away. And it was like you were in a dream and you were just floating. I mean, it was just like flying, I guess because it was flying.
This is all about getting back to Earth safely. Now, on the plus side, you don't need any electricity, you don't need any gasoline, you don't need a propeller.
Yeah!
You could just float down, and I think it's highly likely that you could safely land without any power.
But you know what? I just don't see how a rocket man could carry one of these and deploy it quick enough so that he could land safely.
But on the minus side, you need a huge airfoil. You need a huge surface area in order to do that. And what's more, you'd have to deploy that at the apex of your rocket's trajectory.
I just don't see that happening. We're gonna have to figure out another way to get our rocket man to land safely on the ground.
So what does all that mean for the myth? Well, with one of the 3 key criteria almost written off, there's a danger that this myth is about to crash and burn. Kari, Grant, and Tory have discovered that, as per the myth, using a wing system to float back to Earth is a breeze. But equally, there is no way you could deploy a full-sized hang glider from the confines of the mythical man-sized rocket shuttle. And that means...
Okay, so a huge wing system is out, but there are so many different versions of this myth, and in at least one variation, I heard a vague reference to something that sounded a little bit more like a parachute, and I say we go with that.
That would work. A parachute would be a great idea. However, our rocket man is a simulate. How's he gonna jump out of the rocket and pull a chute?
Okay, I'll give you that, but let me start working on a self-deploying parachute system.
Well, in that case, I think we're ready to go full scale. We'll build the rocket, install the parachute system, go to the desert, and see if this thing works.
I just got word. We are not going to just any desert. We got permission to use the White Sands Missile Base.
No way. Are you serious?
Yes!
But personally, I'm not taking any chances delivering this baby out in the desert, so how about we do this? You start working on the rocket and the shuttle, I'll work on the parachute system, and then you guys just take the whole thing out to the desert.
Without you? This is gonna be awesome. Yeah!
So while Tory shapes the open-top shuttle, Grant will machine the housing for the rocket engine, and Kari will take care of the pilot's self-deploying parachute. By dividing, they're attempting to conquer what is looking like their trickiest and most technical build ever.
So today on MythBusters, real live rocket science. I'm going to start out by building the first critical component of the rocket nozzle, with this. Yes, it looks like a giant chunk of steel, and it is. But when I'm done, it's going to be a rocket nozzle.
While Grant labors away on the lathe, there's a delivery for Mr. Belleci.
Show us!
Our rocket body's in!
And yeah, he's excited.
Rocket man! It's the body of our rocket! Okay, I know it looks like a big giant steel tube, but use your imagination. Once we get some fins on it, we reinforce the inside, we put an engine in it, we put Rocket Man inside. This is gonna be awesome. We're making a rocket.
Cue the patented MythBuster montage. While Tory reinforces the shuttle body to withstand the engine's thrust and adds fins for flight stability,
It's starting to look like a rocket.
Grant slices steel, grinds graphite, and machines the engine that will hold the propellant to be inserted just before blastoff.
So this is a critical moment here. The graphite has to fit perfectly inside of the steel. If there's a slight misalignment, it'd be very bad, because that means the hot gases are going to be off-center, hitting the nozzle holder, and melting away part of it, and potentially causing the rocket to spin wildly. So, hope I get it right. Looks like we're ready to move on. So up till now, Tory's been working on the body of the rocket, and I have been working on the motor. But this is the point where we bring the two together and figure out our mounting system.
So I'm about to build the bracket that is going to hold our engine. Now, it is important that this area is very strong because what we don't want happening is that engine breaking free of our shuttle. So I'm going to be using a little bit thicker steel. Now, another important thing is the placement of the engine. It has to be dead centered and it has to be perpendicular to the ground. Because when we go to launch, we want a true vertical launch. Yeah, we're in!
So now the body and the engine are all one as one complete rocket. Now all we need is a rocket man and a parachute to recover him, and we are good to go.
So it's over to Kari and her substitute for the wing of the Myth, a parachute for our crash test rocketeer.
Okay, so I have my canister built, and I have a parachute packed inside. Now there's a few more layers to make this self-deploying system. The next layer is going to be my spring-loaded pilot chute, which takes about 25 pounds of force to completely compress. On top of this, I will have a little bit of black powder sandwiched between the pilot chute and the lid. The pyrotechnic go in there. The way that this actually ignites is I have an electric igniter hooked up to some wires so that once I touch those wires to a battery, it will blow off the lid. You ever try to pack one of those peanut brittle cans with a snake in it? Oh. Sometimes that happens. The spring will jump out, pulling the pilot chute and then pulling the regular parachute, which will be attached to our Simulade and be able to pull him to freedom.
To put the parachute through its paces, Grant and Kari head down to Treasure Island, attach it to the truck, and get set for a test run.
Okay, so we're here to test Kari's self-deploying parachute system. We're on a closed-off street directly adjacent to the bay. I'm gonna drive down the middle of the street. Go! Okay. When we reach the mark, Kari's gonna hit the button and hopefully deploy the parachute by blowing off the top with the pyrotechnic. 40. The little guide chute comes out. 55. And the whole thing goes up. 60. All right.
I'm feeling so much better about this whole parachute deployment. We found out that after it blows off, that our pilot chute will pull our main chute out of the container, and that parachute has enough lift to hold our rocket man.
So now all we need is to not explode on the launch pad, get stable flight all the way up to apogee.
What could go wrong?
Back at the shop, the final step of fitting our rocket man with his tailor-made parachute is quickly complete. And the countdown to the countdown is on.
I'm getting excited. There are still a few questions that need to be answered. We have liftoff! Is the engine going to be strong enough to lift our weight of the rocket and the rocket man? Is the design of the rocket going to allow this rocket to fly straight up? And touchdown! And once it hits that point, will the parachute deploy and allow the rocket man to get pulled out of the shuttle and land safely on the ground?
Have fun with Rocket Man.
All right. Have fun having a baby.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Is that my water?
This whole thing could just crash and burn. We need to go to the desert and test this.
Bye, guys. Have fun in the desert. It is never going to work.
Tory and Grant have deserted Kari for a deserted destination in the desert, the White Sands Missile Range.
Can you believe we're actually using a real working launch pad to launch our rocket?
So what makes White Sands Missile Range a really great choice for our experiment is that they've got a lot of space. It's crazy. All right, let's get the beast out.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
It's 40 miles in one direction and 100 miles in the other direction. But another great thing is that this is actually a historical site. Behind me is a launch gantry for the V-2 rocket, which was critical to the development of American rocket and missile technology. It led to the first pictures of the curvature of the Earth, and eventually to the Apollo space program.
This rocket science is fun.
Which, by the way, put men in space, which is pretty much what we hope to do today.
Good.
Into space may be a tad ambitious, but matching the key criteria of the Myth, a flight height of 1,000 feet and a safe, survivable descent is within their sights.
So I'm here at Ground Zero. This is where we're gonna launch the rocket from. Got the shuttle right here. Inside is gonna go Buster, along with his parachute system, and then the engine goes in the bottom. Now, for safety, we have to aim the rocket downrange, so off of vertical.
And to do that, we need a guide rail. What I have here is a 12-foot pipe. This pipe will slide through these rings, which is attached to the rocket. Once we get the rocket to that 85 degrees that we're looking for, perfect. I will weld it to the trench plate. This way we have stability for at least 12 feet till the rocket gets off of the guide rail. Now all we need to do is grease up the pole, and then it's time to load up the rocket motor.
Cue Aerojet. With over 70 years designing and perfecting solid and liquid state rocket motors, they're the perfect people to help out.
All right. Okay, so what do we got?
Well, we have our 2 propellant cartridges. The propellant is a mixture of ammonium perchlorate, aluminum powder, and a synthetic rubber binder called HTPB.
That's exactly what I was thinking, right?
Sounds good to me.
And after a quick explanation of the ignition system,
Well, we're going to be using BKNO3 bag igniters.
Grant and Tory quickly
It
grasp
contains boron, potassium,
that
nitrogen.
this really is rocket science. But the last bit, they get.
Then we'll wire everything together, flip the fire switch, and away Buster goes.
Oh, we're gonna have fun.
Oh, and in case you're wondering why we're not using black powder, here's Grant.
So we're using 15 pounds of modern-day solid rocket propellant, which is the direct equivalent of the 140 pounds of black powder that's stated in the myth. That'll give us a burn time of 3.8 seconds, 950 pounds of thrust, and resulting in just under 2 Gs of acceleration on the rocket man, which is a prerequisite for survivability.
Which means they're ready to lock and load.
Okay, here's what we got. Steel motor casing. Inside of that carries 2 propellant cartridges slide right in, one right after the other. On top of that is an igniter. The igniter wires go right down the middle and out the nozzle. On top of that is an insulator plate, a spacer, and then you bolt on the head cap. You take that whole assembly over to the rocket. Okay, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool.
Whew, that was close.
We connect up the wires, and we are good to go.
Beautiful. I'm starting to get excited. We got the rocket on the launch pad. We got the motor installed. Now all we need to do is dress Buster, put the parachute deployment system in place, wire it up, flip the switch, and then it's bye-bye, Rocket Man. We're back, and this is where we're at. We've done all the small-scale tests. We've done all the designing and building. Ready to lift off. This is the best design that we've come up with for our full-scale test. Now it's time to test this Turkish myth. Was Lagari able to build a rocket with 17th century technology, launch himself 1,000 feet into the air, jump out of it, and land safely to Earth with some kind of wing system?
I'll go get the pants.
When did he get duct tape underwear? Well, that is what we're about to find out.
After an unfortunate makeover session, our Automan Rocket Man looks the part.
Perfect.
Looks great.
But it's not those period details that are troubling Grant.
So there are a few difficulties with the historical account of Lagari Hasan's flight. First of all, the 140 pounds of black powder that he's supposed to have used as his propellant would have been extremely dangerous to handle. Not to mention containing all of that explosive force and converting it to thrust would have been extremely difficult. Dude, this is almost it.
You ready, Rocket Man?
Now, second, the materials that we have available today, all the modern steel alloys and all the fabrication techniques like welding, he didn't have any of that. Now, that having been said, we've chosen the propellant to have the same thrust characteristics to the amount of black powder that he had. Second, we've taken all the historical accounts, all of those renderings, all of those drawings, and used that to design our rocket so that it has a similar shape and similar weight. Give us a little slack over here. If this rocket doesn't fly, I find it very difficult to believe that Lagari Hasan would have been able to do it in his day. Ready to go?
Ready.
All right, which way?
That way.
Now, we've been asking the question, was Lagari able to do this? But the real question is, why did he do it? Was it to impress the ladies? Probably. Was he trying to impress his fellow man? Maybe. I know one thing, he wasn't using it for transportation. He was just showing off. Good luck, man. I'd keep my arms in at all times if I were you.
Okay, Roger, stand by.
We're here! Can you believe it? We're at an actual missile testing facility with a real mission control.
We're ready for final arming at this time.
Roger, good copy.
Predictions. Here's what I got.
vehicle is armed.
I think the welds in the engine casing are gonna hold, and we are gonna get liftoff.
Attention all personnel, please clear the pad at this time. This is Operation Alpha Golf, holding at 5 minutes and counting.
And I can absolutely guarantee that for the first 12 feet of his flight, it's gonna be perfectly straight.
All right, go ahead and arm the system.
All right, arming system.
And I think that given the weight distribution, it's quite likely that we might have some tumbling happening right after that 12 feet. But you know what? That's what we're here to find out.
So all that remains is to hit that switch.
All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
A successful launch? Oh yeah, Rocket Man had the ride of his life. But here comes the but. The rocket lost control way before the mythical 1,000 feet. And Rocket Man did not escape and deploy his parachute.
So the rocket was set on the launch pad. We all ran back to the bunker. Grant gave the countdown. Kari hit the switch, and the rocket went straight. It was stable for about 100 feet. The motors were working perfectly, but at that point, the rocket went out of control, and we knew it was crash and burn.
That's crazy. All right, let's go check it out.
However, the Rocket Man did eject from the rocket, but he hit the ground before his parachute deployed. Look at the damage to the rocket!
That's crazy. Dude, he is looking mighty crispy.
We burnt his clothes off.
All right, so how are we gonna call this one?
I don't know. I mean, we did get it to launch. That thing got almost 100 feet in the air.
Yeah, but 100 feet is pretty far from 1,000.
Yeah, and you know what? There's no way he survived that landing.
Well, let's take the footage back to the shop. We'll have a look at it, and then we can decide.
All right, I think that's a good call.
So tell me everything.
It was great. We made it off the launch pad. Smooth takeoff exactly as predicted, and we made it up to about 100 feet.
Yeah, but at that point, everything went wrong. It burst into flames, started spiraling out of control before it smashed to the earth.
And our Rocket Man?
Crash and burn. And when I say burn, I mean burnt to a crisp.
So we didn't reach the 1,000-foot altitude we were looking for, and our Rocket Man did not safely sail down to the Earth.
Nope.
So how are we calling this one?
Bear in mind, we gave this myth the best possible chance of working. High-performance, state-of-the-art rocket motors, modern materials, and we even replaced the highly suspect wing system with a modern parachute.
But I think we still have to call this one busted.
Well, hang on. What about all the historical accounts? Apparently this actually happened.
Well, as we know, just because it's written doesn't mean it's true. I mean, look at Archimedes' death ray, for example. Plus, there are so many stories around this myth, and none of the evidence matches up. I mean, they can't agree on the design of the ship, they can't agree on how many motors were used, how high it went. I just don't think there's enough evidence.
So unless somebody unearths some actual evidence, we're calling this one busted.
Busted. Unfortunately, Lagari's rocket design, from the weight distribution to the aerodynamics, just won't fly.
Busted.